For a long time, I thought smart people were simply born that way. They seemed different, better memory, faster brains, some kind of natural gift they got. But then something happened that completely changed the way I see intelligence. I attended a conference filled with incredibly smart people, and this time I paid attention. I watched how these people spoke, how they reacted under pressure, how they made decisions, and how they seemed to outsmart everyone around them without even trying. And to my surprise, it was not about what they knew, it was about something else. In this video, I am sharing the 5 secret behaviors genuinely sharp people use every single day. And trust me, none of them are complicated. Most people just never figure them out. 1. Only spend energy on what you can actually control. Many of us waste years on this without even realizing it, worrying about what people think, whether things will work out, whether we are good enough. And all of that mental noise does absolutely nothing except exhaust us and keep us stuck. Smart people think differently. They have a very simple filter. If I cannot control it, I am not giving it my energy. Full stop. You cannot control whether someone likes you. You can control how confidently you show up. You cannot control the outcome of a difficult conversation. You can control how honest, calm, and clear you are during it. This sounds simple, but in reality, it needs a lot of practice. Because the things we cannot control are usually the things we care about the most. Approval, success, love. But the moment you genuinely stop pouring energy into those things, something strange happens. You suddenly get your attention back. Your focus becomes clearer and your decisions become smarter. And instead of constantly reacting to life, you finally start moving it. 2. Zoom out when everyone else zooms in. Have you ever been so stuck inside a situation that you completely lost perspective? You are not alone, because when something goes wrong, most of us instinctively zoom in instead of stepping back to see the bigger picture. Your brain locks onto the problem right in front of you, the rejection, the awkward conversation, the mistake, the embarrassing moment, and suddenly, that one moment starts feeling like your entire reality. Smart people resist that pull. Instead of panicking, they zoom out, like a camera slowly pulling back from a scene. One bad meeting does not mean the project is doomed. One awkward conversation does not mean the relationship is over. One failure does not mean you are a failure. Psychologists call this metacognition, the ability to step back and observe your own thinking instead of getting trapped inside it. In other words, instead of immediately believing every emotional reaction your brain gives you, you pause and ask, is this actually as bad as it feels right now? What is really happening here? What pattern am I missing? And in my experience, that last question changes everything. Because the truth is, problems that feel enormous up close almost always look different from a distance. Smaller, clearer, more solvable. Zooming out does not magically erase the problem, but it stops the problem from controlling all your decisions. 3. Ask questions instead of fighting to be right. In my experience, this is the habit that changes people the fastest. And ironically, it is also one of the hardest to master. Because when someone disagrees with you, every instinct inside you wants to fight back. Defend yourself, prove your point, win. Most of us do it automatically. The moment someone challenges us, we go straight into defense mode, talking louder, throwing out more arguments, trying to win the conversation. And for a moment, it feels productive. But it almost never is. Because winning an argument and changing someone's mind are two completely different things. You can completely destroy someone in a debate and still walk away having changed absolutely nothing. Smart people understand this, which is why they do something different. Instead of fighting, they ask real questions, not manipulative ones designed to make the other person look stupid. Genuine curiosity. Questions like, what made you see it that way? Help me understand where that comes from. Why do you feel so strongly about that? Because those questions do something arguments almost never can. They make people feel heard. And the moment someone feels heard, their defenses begin to drop. They stop protecting their position and start actually thinking. That is when real conversation begins. 4. Be comfortable with silence. Have you ever had one of those moments where a conversation suddenly goes silent and you instantly feel the need to fill it? Most people are deeply uncomfortable with silence, as if it were something that needed to be fixed immediately. The moment a conversation pauses, they rush to fill the space. They say the first thing that comes to mind just to escape the discomfort. And usually, the first thing that comes to mind is not their best thinking. But smart people do the opposite. They pause, they let the silence breathe, They think before they speak. And here is the fascinating part. Research consistently shows that people who pause before answering are perceived as more intelligent, more confident, and more credible than people who respond instantly. What feels like hesitation on the inside often looks like composure on the outside. Higher intelligence is also linked to a greater ability to override impulsive reactions and engage in deliberate thinking, especially in complex situations. In other words, the pause is not weakness. It is the brain doing its best work. That kind of composure is not just personality, it is a trained skill. Try this yourself. The next time someone asks you something important, pause for just 3 seconds before answering. You will be surprised how much smarter your own thoughts sound when you actually give them time to form. 5. Pause before you react. If you truly commit to the following habit, I promise, it will change your entire life. Most people react instantly. Someone says something rude and they snap back. Something goes wrong and they spiral. Someone questions their decision and they immediately become defensive. And in the moment, it feels completely justified. But most of the time, the immediate reaction only makes things worse. Smart people do something different. They create a pause between what happens and how they respond. Something triggers them, and instead of reacting immediately, they stop and ask themselves one simple question. Is this a response I will still be proud of tomorrow? It is a small question, but it does enormous work, because the answer is almost never yes when you are reacting purely from emotion. And this is not about being passive. It is not about letting people walk over you. It is about choosing your response instead of surrendering to your impulse. The person who stays calm while everyone else reacts emotionally is almost always the most powerful person in the room, not because they feel nothing, but because they understand that their response is too important to leave to emotion alone. The moments I regret most are almost always the moments where I reacted without thinking, and the moments I am proudest of are usually the ones where I paused, even for just a second, and chose differently. In the beginning of this video, I promised you something far more powerful than a high IQ, something that makes you smarter where it actually matters most. And if you really paid attention, none of these behaviors were ever about IQ. They were about emotional intelligence, and that is how you quietly outsmart 90% of people. Because raw intelligence might help someone solve a math problem faster, but emotional intelligence is what determines how someone handles pressure, conflict, rejection, uncertainty, and people. It is the ability to stay calm when others become reactive, to think clearly when emotions take over, to understand not only your own mind, but the people around you. And in real life, that skill often matters far more than sounding intelligent ever will. Because the people who succeed socially, professionally, and emotionally are usually not the ones with the highest IQ in the room. They are the ones who can stay thoughtful while everyone else is reacting impulsively. And the truth is, it simply requires awareness, asking instead of arguing, zooming out when everything inside you wants to zoom in, letting go of what you cannot control, becoming comfortable with silence, and choosing your response instead of reacting automatically. Most people will never practice these habits consistently, not because they cannot, but because they never consciously decide to. Which means the moment you do, you already begin thinking differently from almost everyone around you. And don't be surprised, people notice that shift much faster than you would expect. They start paying attention to you differently and start wondering how you stay so calm, so clear, so emotionally controlled while everyone else reacts impulsively. And the answer is surprisingly simple. You stopped letting every emotion make decisions for you. You started thinking before reacting.